Alright, so this example from 6.4 is looking at when I reach in and grab a handful of something. So usually in this class it's typically a handful of candy or a handful of marbles. You kind of get sick of a handful of marbles. It's a common example that we'll use in Chapter 7 and Chapter 8 again. Like rolling a dice and flipping a coin. It's one of those common types that you'll see over and over and over again. And actually, I added a few more examples to this video than I typically ask during a traditional semester class, because I felt like I throw a few more in there in this online setting. Alright, so again, watch what you need to watch. Alright, if you feel like you've got a good understanding after the first couple of examples, you should be fine. I threw in a third example just as an extra one. Alright, so it's all combinations. Whenever I select a random handful, right, so whenever a problem has the word, I'm reaching in and I'm grabbing out a handful of items, or a group of items all at one time are selected. Well, there is no order, right? So this is different than the marble example I did before where I took out one at a time. I'm not doing that. There is no order to it because I'm taking them all at once, right? A handful means I reached in, pulled all of them out at the same time. Right? So there is no order. The first, second, third marble all selected at once. Right? So there is no first, second, and third. Right? There is no order. So whenever it's a handful of items, it's always a combination type because order cannot be determined because they're selected at once. And because they're selected at once, there's no way for me to select the same marble twice, right? These are all selected at the same time, or the same candy twice. So I've got a bag of marbles. It contains 3 reds, 2 greens, 1 lavender, 2 yellows, and 2 orange marbles. If we select a handful of 3 marbles, right, so I reach in and I pull out 3 marbles at random. Right, so I'm reaching in and I'm grabbing all 3 marbles at the same time. Combinations, right? So that phrase means combinations. I want to know, based on this particular bag of marbles, how many possible sets of 3 could I grab? How many different handfuls could I pick if I'm pulling 3 marbles out of this bag of marbles? And so this would be a universal set. Right, where that represents my universal set. And so I can pick any color, right? Any of my marbles can be chosen, right? I'm picking a handful of 3s. It didn't tell me what color I need to pick, and so this is my universal. You can read that, universal. Which means any color, any marble can be selected. Which means I'm choosing out of the entire bag full of marbles. So I need to know how many are in my entire bag full of marbles. I need to count them up. I've got 3, 2, 5, another 5. So 10. Right? All 10 could be selected. So I've got 10 total marbles. And I'm going to pick 3. And it's a combination type. And so it's combination out of 10 in the bag of marbles. I'm going to select 3. So it's a 10 combination, choose 3, and remember, combinations, you have to plug it into the calculator. There's no way around it, unlike permutation. So you have to type in 10 combinations formula, choose 3, and if you do that, it comes out to 120 handfuls, different handfuls, total. Alright, so there's 120 ways I can grab a handful of marbles, a handful of 3 marbles from this particular bag of marbles. Alright, so that's the universal set. So same bag of marbles, but now I want a different handful. This time I want a specific case, right? So that was 120 was all the different cases. I'm still picking a handful of 3. So I still have 10 marbles, I'm choosing 3. But I want the outcomes, right, out of my universal set, where I selected all of the yellow ones. Alright, so I've got 2 yellow ones. Alright, so I want to make sure, and the hard part about this one is there's a hidden and statement. So I'm going to write it out, number of ways to get all of the yellow ones, so I want to pick 2 yellows. But remember, my handful has to have 3. I'm going to pick 3 total in my handful. And so if I've picked 2 yellows, I'm not done yet in my selection. I still need one more marble to complete my handful. And so there's a hidden and statement. And one other color. Other meaning I can't pick yellow because I've already selected them all. Alright, it is a combinations type. So remember, we had 10 total. So if I have 2 yellows, that means there were 8 others. Alright, 8 other colors. And so combination, well, I'm picking both of the yellows. So 2 yellows, choose 2, and, which means I multiply, one of the 8 other colors. If you go look, there should be 8 other colors in my bag of marbles besides yellow. 2, choose 2. Whenever it's a combination and I'm choosing them all, and you could double check this by typing it in the calculator, that's always 1. There's only one way to choose all of the colors. And then whenever it's a combination, 8, choose 1. Alright, that always comes out the total whenever I choose 1 in a combination. So there are only 8 ways I can choose one of the other colors. So 1 times 8, meaning there are 8 handfuls with all the yellows. All meaning 2. So out of my 120 handfuls total, 8 of them contain both yellow marbles. Sorry, 8 of the 120. Alright, next example. How many handfuls of 3? So again, still going to pick 3. Still combination because it's handfuls. This time, it's the opposite of what I did in the last one. I want none of the yellow ones. Alright, so I don't want to select the yellow ones. So remember, there were 2 yellows and 8 that were not yellow. Alright, 8 others. And so I only want to select out of those 8. So instead of selecting out of all 10, I only want to pick 3 of the 8 marbles that are not yellow. And so number of ways to do this is I want to pick 3 of the non-yellows. Well, that's combination. Pick 3 out of the 8 marbles that are not yellow. Alright, there are 8 marbles that are not yellow. But you do 8, choose 3 in your calculator. So remember, 8 combination, choose 3. Alright, if you do that, there should be 56 handfuls. With no yellows. Out of 120 total, 56 of the handfuls contain 0 yellow marbles. Alright, so if we select a handful of 5, so this one's a little different. I'm picking 5 now. So now we're going to pick 5. So it's different. Last 2 examples we were picking 3. This time we're picking 5. How many sets of 5 include 1 of each color? So I've got to pick 1 of each of my colors. I'm going to assume that means there's 5 colors. Back and look. Red, green, lavender, yellow, and orange. So I want 1 of each of those. Alright, so I want 1 red and 1 green and 1 lavender, 1 yellow, and 1 orange. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure there are 5 there. And so so these are all combination choose 1. So you can write, I'm going to write them down, but you could just do how many there are. There are how many red, how many green, how many lavender, how many yellow, how many orange. Well, the red ones, there are 1 out of 3 red ones. And so we multiply, I want 1 green out of 2. And 1 lavender out of 1. 1 yellow out of 2. And 1 orange out of 2. So remember, so you could kind of skip this middle step if you wanted to. Remember, whenever I choose 1 in a combination, it's always the total number in my group, right? I'm going to pick one of 3 red marbles. Well, there are 3 ways to do that. I'm going to pick one of 2 green marbles. Well, there are 2 ways to do that. There's only 1 lavender, so there's only 1 way to get a lavender. 2 yellows and 2 orange. So there's 2 ways I can get 1 yellow, and there's 2 ways I can get 1 orange. And so it's just the multiplication of how many in each color. So 3 times 2 times 1 times 2 times another 2. You multiply those numbers out, 6 and 4, so 24 handfuls with 1 of each color. Alright, so I don't know what the total is in this case. So that's something I'm leaving for you to find. But there are 24 handfuls where I reach in and I grab out 5 marbles, and I'd get 1 of each of the colors in the bag of marbles. On your own, which I'll post the answer to this later on your own, figure out, well, how many were there in that universal set. So how many total handfuls of 5 marbles from this particular bag of marbles can there be? 24 of them had 1 of each color. Right? And so that's left for you to do. I am going to do a couple more examples just to do a couple more extra practice. Right, so I've got a bag that contains, so this is a different bag of marbles. So this new bag of marbles contains 4 green, 2 yellows, 3 red, and 6 blues. A group of 5 marbles is randomly grabbed as a handful. Alright, so as soon as you see handful, combinations, kind of like as soon as you see committee, combinations. Alright, handful, combinations. Alright, I want to know how many of my handfuls, so I'm going to pick 5 in my handful, contain at least 2 green. And there's that phrase that you're going to have to get used to. We've done it a few times now in this set of notes, at least and at most, and we'll do an example in a little bit where I'll use the term at most. You're just going to have to get used to it. At least means 2 or more, right? 2 or more. Which means I would have to have 2 green, or 3 green, or 4 green. And that's it. I only have 4 green marbles. I can't go past 4. But I'd have to figure out those. And actually, that's not too hard to figure out that set. You could do that. Now, what you have to be careful of is, remember, I always have to pick 5. So there's and statement that go along with those. I'm actually going to use the complement. Alright, the complement to this would be I find my universal set and I figure out, well, what sets do I throw away? What sets do I want to get rid of? Alright, so I'm going to use the complement. Alright, so number of ways to get at least 2 greens. Using the complement would be the number in my universal, on all possible handfuls of 5, minus the number that I don't want. Well, if I don't want at least 2 greens, the cases I want to throw away are the handful with 1 green, right, because it's not 2, or 0 greens, right, a handful with no greens. Alright, so I get 1 green or no greens. Right, now I want to throw those out, so this is a subtraction step. And so that's the method I'm going to use. It's a little simpler. Now you don't have to. You could figure out these groups and add them together, right? Or means you add. Don't forget there's a hidden and statement with each of them because I have to always pick 5. I have to finish out my handful. So if I've got 2, I still need 3 more. And I'm going to have to do the same thing here with my complement set. Alright, so I'm going to go down here. First thing I'm going to figure out, though, is my universal, and then I'll figure out the 2 groups I want to throw out. Alright, so the universal set, remember, means I can pick any 5. That's what the universal set means. Universal set means any, right? Any 5 can be selected. So it's a combination. I'm picking 5 out of any of my colors. Well, I've got to figure out how many colors I have. So I've got 4, 2, 3, and 6, so 10 and 5, so 15. I can pick 5 of the 15 different marbles in my handful. And so combination 15 choose 5, that's the universal set. Alright, combination 15 choose 5. Then I'm going to subtract away the outcomes I don't want. The outcomes I don't want are anything with a handful with less than 2 green marbles. So I'm going to throw out the handful that had 1 green marble, and I'm going to throw out the handful that had no green marbles. And so I'm going to figure that out here. I'm going to put brackets around it because I'm going to subtract the whole set. So I got to make sure I'm careful with my subtraction. Alright, so first the one green case. Alright, so remember, if I've got one green, I still have to finish out my handful. So if I've got one green, I still need and for others, right? Others that are not green. Or no green, which means there are 5 others. Right? Other meaning other than green. That's what that means. Alright, so the first one, I pick one green, so combination, I'm selecting one of the 4 green marbles. And I have to finish my handful. I still need 4, right? I have to pick 5 altogether, so there's still 4 left I need to choose that have to be one of the other colors. Well, the other colors are 2 yellows, 3 reds, and 6 blues. And so there are 11, right? 2 plus 3 plus 6 are 11 other colors. So the first group would be combination 4 choose 1 times combination 11 choose 4. That's the one green case. Or, remember the word or, we add the case where all of the colors came out non-green. 0 greens were selected. And so that would be combination. I'm picking 5 of the other colors. Well, there were 11 other colors, right? 11 colors that were not green. So 11 choose 5. Alright, and so I've got to figure out that set. So those are the sets I want to throw out from my universal. Alright, so you type them in the calculator, 15 choose 5. So 15 choose 5 is the universal. So there were 3,003 handfuls total. I want to subtract away the 2 outcomes I don't want, where I got 1 green or no greens, and so I've got to figure these out. So combination 4 choose 1, well that's 4, times 11 choose 4, which 11 choose 4 is 330, plus a handful with no greens, which was 11 choose 5. You do 11 choose 5, that comes out to 462. Alright, well I'm going to figure this out first so I subtract correctly. Alright, so I multiply 4 times 330, add the 462, and so when I do that, that comes out 1,782. So there are 1,782 handfuls that have 1 green or no greens. Those are the ones I want to throw away. If I get rid of those for my universal, the ones that are left over should have at least 2. Meaning some of them will have 2 or 3 or 4 greens. And so when we do our subtraction, it should come out 1,221 handfuls with at least 2 greens. Alright, so that's the at least case. Alright, next example, which is the example I threw in as an extra set. So again, different bag of candy. I've got 3 cherries. So this bag of candy is a set of marbles, but it works the same way. Bag of M&Ms is another common one we use. So again, whenever I have a bag of stuff and I'm reaching in and grabbing out a handful. My candy bag contains 3 cherry, 4 orange, and 6 lemon candies. You reach in and grab a handful of 4. So as soon as you see handful, that's combination. And I'm going to pick 4 in the handful. Alright, how many handfuls will you get at most? So there's that other phrase. At most, 1 lemon. So at most would mean my maximum. I get 1 lemon or fewer. I get 1 lemon or no lemons, right? That would be fewer than 1. It's a number of handfuls where I get 1 lemon. Well, remember, I've got to complete my handful. So I've got a handful with 1 lemon in it. But I have to finish it out, so there still needs to be other candies in there with that 1 lemon. Well, I need to have 4 total, so I need and 3 others, right? Because the others implies other than lemon, because I've already got my lemon candy, so they've got to be either orange or cherry. Or no lemons, which means all 4 are others, meaning they're not lemon. Alright, so combination, I'm picking 1 lemon out of 6. And I have to finish out my handful with 3 of the other flavors, which there are 7 of the other flavors, right? 3 cherry, 4 orange, so 7 others. Alright, so there's 1 handful, 1 lemon, 3 of the other flavors. Or, so we add. Combination, I'm picking 4 from the 7 other flavors. 4 that are not lemon, right? There are 7 that are not lemon, then you plug those in the calculator. Combination 6 choose 1 is 6, 7 choose 3 is 35, plus 7 choose 4, which is also 35. Alright, so you can multiply it up, or you can take 7 times 35. Alright, when you multiply that out, it should come out to 245 handfuls, with at most 1 lemon. Alright, so 1 are not, 35 of them have no lemons, and then 6 times 35. So most of them have at least 1 lemon, not at least, 1 lemon exactly. 35 of them have no lemons. Alright, next example. So same bag of candy. How many handfuls have exactly 4 orange candies? Alright, so I'm picking all of the orange candies, right? There were only 4 oranges. I'm going to pick 4. Alright, so this is the canful. Well, remember, I'm picking 4. And I want them all to be orange, which there are only 4 orange, right? We'll look up here. 4 orange, and I'm picking 4. And so this would be combination. Number of ways to get 4 orange. Alright, so what are the odds if you reach in and grab 4 pieces of candy, you're going to get 4 orange? It'll be combination 4, choose 4, right? I'm picking 4 candies, and I'm picking only from the orange, and there are only 4 orange, so 4 choose 4. Well, there's only one way to do that. If you type it in, it should come out 1. Combination 4, choose 4 is 1. Whenever you're picking all of them with a combination, there's only 1 handful. Alright, so there's only one way to reach in. There's only 1 handful out of all the handfuls that have all 4 orange candies in them. So the odds are very slim that you do that. Alright, next example. How many handfuls have exactly 1 cherry and exactly 2 orange candies? Alright, so again, this is looking for a specific case. The hard part about this one is students forget, to finish the handful. I've got 1 cherry and 2 orange, which means right now I've got 3 candies accounted for. But remember, in the original problem, it said you had to pick 4 pieces. And so it's really easy to forget. You always have to complete your handful, always have to complete your group. And so there's a hidden statement which you have to remember. We have to pick 4 in my handful. Well, I want 1 cherry and 2 orange. And then there's this hidden and statement, and this is the one that you have to remember, right? Right now I've only got 3, which means there's a missing spot, missing candy in my handful. I need 1 other, and this time the other, meaning other than cherry or orange. I'm going to read that, cherry or orange. So I've already picked cherry and orange. And so the only other flavor available is lemon, so it means I needed, that other actually means lemon. I need 1 lemon to finish my handful, right? I have 3 cherries, 4 oranges, and 6 lemons. So it's combination. I'm picking 1 of the cherry candies, so I had 3 to choose from, so 1 choose 3. And so we multiply 2 of the orange. Remember there are 4 orange, so out of the orange I'm going to pick 2 of them, so 4 choose 2. And I need to finish my handful, because I've only got 3 candies right now, with 1 of the other colors, so 1 of the other flavors. Well, the only other flavor left over is lemon, so I have to pick 1 of the lemons. There were 6 lemons to choose from, so 1 of the 6 lemons. So 3 choose 1 are the number of ways I can get the cherry. 4 choose 2 are the number of ways I can get the orange. 6 choose 1 are to finish off my handful with the last missing piece, which happened to be lemons. so this comes out 3, 4 choose 2 is 6, 6 choose 1 is also 6, so 3 times 6 times 6, for a grand total of 108 handfuls, with exactly 1 cherry and 2 orange candies. Alright, look back over these. Look specifically for the ones in the extra practice or the practice exam that are talking about bags of marbles, bags of candy, where you're selecting handfuls, right? You will see these problems, a couple of them on the first quiz, a couple of them on the second quiz, and a couple of them on the third quiz, and there's usually a few of them on the final exam. So these bags of marbles, bags of candy examples, you'll see multiple times throughout the semester. So make sure you practice these. Go back and watch this video again. Go and practice them in the extra practice that I've posted on ReggieNet. Look for the ones that say I've got a handful, I'm selecting from a bag of marbles or a bag of candy, and see if you can't do them right. Alright, that stops there. We'll pick up the next set of notes in the next video.